What does a test score actually tell you about a student? Is it ability, effort, opportunity, or something else entirely? Imagine two students. Both score below average on a reading test. One has a learning disability, the other just moved to a new country and is still learning the language. Same score, but completely different story. So today, let's go beyond the test and uncover what academic assessments really mean, especially for both typically developing students and those with learning disabilities. Hi, I'm Dr. Shazia Nasir, and I work in inclusive education and assessment. On this channel, we break down how learning actually works without the jargon. Today, we are talking about why test scores are just the beginning, not the conclusion. So, most standardized assessments are designed to measure specific skills: reading accuracy, math, reasoning, memory, processing speed. They are useful tools, but they are not complete pictures. A test score can tell you how a student performed on a specific task compared to a normal group, but it cannot fully tell you why the student performed that way, how they learn best, what supports they actually need. For example, a low score in reading comprehension might reflect decoding difficulties, limited vocabulary, attention issues, or even test anxiety. Same score, multiple explanations. Now, this is where things go wrong. When we treat test scores on labels instead of data points, we risk underestimating students, misidentifying learning disabilities, or overlooking environmental factors. For students with learning disabilities, this is critical. A test might show a weakness, but without context, we might miss their strengths, compensatory strategies, or, or uneven skill profiles. Inclusive assessment means asking, what does this score mean for this student? Not just, what is the score? Now, if we look at the whole, learner, to go beyond the test, we need multiple sources of information. Number one, we need assessment data, which means whether it's a standardized and informal assessment. Number two, classroom performance, which means the real world application. Number three, observation and how the student approaches tasks. Number four, student voice, meaning to say their own perspective. And number five, last but not the least, language, the context, in which includes language, culture, access, instruction. So let's go back to our earlier example. Student A struggles with decoding consistent pattern because possibly he has some learning disability. Student B, strong thinking skills but language barrier, needs language support. Same test result, different interpretations, different interventions. So, one of the most important shifts in in inclusive education is moving from deficit based thinking to strength based thinking. Instead of asking, what can't this student do, we ask, what can they do and how can we build on it? A student with a reading disability might have strong verbal communication, creativity, problem solving skills. When we identify strengths, we can design supports that actually work. So, assessment should always lead to action. A score without a plan is just a number. For example, low working memory, those who are having low working memory, we can use visual supports, chunking repetition, With slow processing speed, we can allow them extra time and reduce the task load. Then if somebody has reading difficulties, we can, it can be explicit structured literacy instruction. So the goal is not just to measure learning, but to improve it. So next time you see a test score, you need to ask, what does this tell me? What does it not tell me? And what does this student need next? Because a real understanding begins beyond the test. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more insights on inclusive assessment and learning. Thank you so much. See you soon.